What's up, everybody? We're back with another episode of the Dragzine Podcast. I'm your host, Senior Associate Editor Brian Wagner. Boy, you better pull those belts a little extra tight this week because we got the wild man Steve Johnson with us. Steve, what's going on?
You're the senior editor. You don't get some kind of like CEO or president-elect or anything fancy like that?
I'm Senior Associate, so I'm like the third one in line behind the janitor if something goes wrong. It's all about the titles, man. It's all about the titles.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I get, it's like I was the floor sweeper, and I'm like, man, if you do that, then you might as well just call yourself the CEO. So I'm sure Zuckerberg or Mr. Apple guy, God, I can't even think of his name.
Steve Jobs.
What? Steve Jobs, yeah. I'm sure those guys all when you got to dole out a title, man, it's usually with employees, that's usually something that's really challenging. As soon as you give somebody some authority, boy, they let you know.
Yeah, I definitely always tell people I have little to no authority. I've got 5 people I've got to run it past. So let's just, roll on through it. Let's do our jobs. I've dealt with that in all kinds of fun jobs throughout corporate America. I just look at titles. I'm like, oh, you must feel important because you have all these names after your name.
That sounds like me with my advisory committee when I want to add 4 pounds of clutch to my static pressure or something like that. I got to run it by 4 people.
Exactly. There's a chain of, it's like in the military, there's a chain of command, right?
Oh my God. Yeah. I did some promotions. When Tony was racing with everybody, the Army was so prevalent. And I clearly love the Army. Today, I get my seat to an Air Force vet, big, tall, black man. Woo, boy, I wouldn't want to jack with that sun gun. His name was Mac, and he walked back, and I thought for a second, I'm like, hey, that was a hat. I was on the phone, and I'm like, when the people stopped walking by and they were ready to shut the door, I ran back and got him, and I ran back. And I never saw him. I'm like looking for how they always wear the vet hat?
Yeah.
And I never saw the guy. And I'm like, well, what the hell? I know he's here. And so I went all the way back, and then I came all the way forward, and I'm looking like a knucklehead. They're trying to shut the gate and the door. And so I turn around, and then I seen a big black guy, and I'm like, that's the dude I didn't want to mess with. And then he's holding the hat in his hand, and I said, "Excuse me, are you the veteran?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "You got to move up there." Oh, well, so we go. I said, "No." And he says, "Are you sure?" I said, "Yeah." They won't leave the gate unless you're up there. So he said, "Oh, well, wow, that's thank you so much." I'm like, "Well, we all thank you." So he went up there, and anyway, they come back and they give me all the cookies, and hey, your flight's here, and I'm back in 72R or whatever it is. And so, but it's cool. So point is I have a friend that's a colonel in the Army, and he allowed me to go to the base, and I got to go through the what's it called? I had it on the tip of my tongue. The agility tests and boot camp and pull-ups and running through on the ground in the mud and all these kinds of cool stuff. So I got to do all that. So I have a huge respect for all of our military.
Yeah, it's always cool to see them at the track as well. They're always so respectful and enjoying themselves, especially the ones in uniform. And it's awesome when we get to do a little something extra for them at the track, right?
Yeah. They're Tony and that whole sponsorship. Obviously it was very self-serving from one standpoint, but on the other standpoint, if you really have a gratitude in your heart, then you say, they're just, we all, I think, are appreciative. That just other people show it different ways. And the rules in NHRA are the same way. I think we all have an opinion on them, and we all like to voice it. I'm sure we'll get into that, but I think when Tony brought those people there, especially to the Yes event, we encouraged young people to consider careers and be fantastic human beings. But at the same time, the Army said, if you are thinking about a career in the Army, then we're here to help you out with that. And those presentations I was a part of, and that's where I met the colonel.
Now, speaking of careers and whatnot, I think it'd be fun for our listeners and viewers to find out, what exactly got you into drag racing, and then how did you end up on a pro stock motorcycle?
Well, that's a cool question. Um, at Well, I rode dirt bikes with my dad, my brother, and loved those. And I had a paper route, and so I had a big paperboy bike, which they call cruisers. Let me see. After that, I got introduced. I moved out before I was out of high school, and then well, no, at 15 and a half in California, you can get a learner's permit, so you can drive a car with your mom, but you can ride a motorcycle by yourself with a learner's permit. And back then at 15 and a half, man, you got some major freedom. You get out of school and you go to old girl's house. You can go shop, go to the wherever, you had freedom. So that obviously got me through a period. Then I got my 69 Cougar, and then I moved out. And from there, the guys that I moved out with, the Laroneses, they're Jeff Larones is a alcohol funny car crew chief, and Jim also races. So the noise that you're seeing out here, there's cars going by. I come out to get the mail. I haven't been here, so I'm outside. But yeah, they had motorcycles, and I was their dad was my mentor, and he had motorcycles. So I got a Honda 750, and man, there was nothing cooler in Southern California to ride a Honda 750, no helmet, go pick up girls, hey, I'm cool. I got a motorcycle, right? So that was, that's how it started. And then it to the, and between all the people at the drag strip having fun and racing, and there were girls at the drag strip also, I was hooked.
It's funny to hear different stories about how racers kind of got into it, in their path, what drove them to drag racing, and what, how they chose their particular poison that they wanted. It seems like, I had a Ty Tharp Nitro Harley racer. You're my first pro stock bike racer. And it's like, it's just that kind of glue with the bike guys. It's all about that bike life and the feeling you get out of it, right?
Yeah, it's well, it actually kind of made me think about, well, I wonder if he's going to ask this question, but it's like I can kind of tee it up myself from. I think we all get excited about different things, and that's what makes my deal a little bit different. I've been just stuck in this rut forever, 17 years of racing and never won a race, until 2004 when we won in St. Louis. But there's been lots of pro stock motorcycle racers. There's been lots of all kinds of racers in our society. So my point here is I just kind of was hard headed, and I kind of stuck with it. And I always said, if I could win a championship, I'd go get married. I'd quit and go get married and have a picket fence and have kids, but it's like, I'm still at it, and I loved it. And it was basically because I learned the money that I had wasn't going to take me to where I wanted to go in racing, even as a hobby. And I got introduced to this guy, John Asher, and he was the editor, and he's done a ton of stuff in motorsports, but he was the writer, and he put sponsorship deals together. He put, I think, one of the first deals together with Mark Powett. And he was involved with the War Eagle deal with Miller Brewery and stuff. So definitely a guy on the front edge of everything. And he gave me he talked to me. He didn't know me from Adam's cat. He spent an hour with me on the phone, and he's been a mentor ever since. So he got me into the part of you need money, and you got to deliver something for what you're getting, but you don't want to deal with family, friends, or relatives. You want to deal with corporate America, and that could lead into a career, and that's really what I wanted. So I got lucky and got connected with Slick 50, and there was enough money there to where I didn't have to go to work, and I didn't have to go to traditional work. I worked at the shop on the motorcycle, and I did Walmarts every Wednesday with John Force. He didn't do them every Wednesday, but he had to do them with Castrol. And I'd take a bike and a reaction timer and ship it in a crate and go to the next place. So that turned into the quote unquote racer career.
You know, kind of dovetailing off of that, I always like to ask guys that drive or ride really fast stuff, what was it like your first time you got on your first really fast bike? You know, maybe even the first time on a pro stock motorcycle, when you step up to that next level, when you make that transition, do you remember what it was like? You know, the kind of the shock and awe moment.
Well, Larry Dixon and I, even Karen Stouffer, I think Beckman was in the area. There's a handful that grew up in the San Fernando Valley, and the first few people I mentioned, we hung out at this Winchell's place and we street raced. So street racing seems so much more adrenaline packed than at the drag strip. I guess it's a perspective, in all fairness, because there are, tens of thousands of people, watching at the drag races. They're on TV, Fox, and nowadays. And but at the street races, they're like right next to you when you're doing a burnout, and I started with a Kawasaki 900, but then I merged into a turbocharged Kawasaki, and it was a street bike that you could ride anywhere. I rode around on a slick, and it ran 860, 160, and I could ride it from here to the grocery store and back with grandma on the back if I wanted. So it was, with no bar, it went 860. So ooh. This is back 1,000 years ago. So, now bikes, they run sixes with no bar. They got 5 feet worth of swing arm and stuff like that. It's all like lanes, cars, and all. To answer your question specifically, there is this hill at home, and it was one of these big long hills that go up and then plateau. And when I would take off from a stoplight and I would gas it on that turbo bike, and in second and third gear with 20 pounds of boost and super blue, I swear I couldn't have been on anything faster on the planet. It felt like a rocket ship going to take off. It's what I thought a rocket ship would feel like taking off. And it was so adrenaline filled. And the girl thing was clearly riding around with a fast motorcycle. We street raced, and I got a little bit of notoriety for a fast motorcycle. So that kind of helped the game with the girls. I didn't have no game, but my bike was fast, kind of thing. So between the speed and the whole ambiance, it was a pretty powerful moment.
Now, another thing, powerful. Speaking of powerful moments, I was doing a little bit of research on you, and I didn't know that you took place in one of the first USA drag racing festivals in Japan, and you actually won an event at Fuji International Raceway. Kind of talk about that, because I'm sure that was a pretty wild experience going to Japan to race motorcycles.
It was. That's good research. I'm gonna flip this around, because I was out getting what I thought was gonna be some mail. So here. Oh, I got a low battery. I'm gonna have to go charge my battery. So this is my 24/7 place. I have a house, but boy, oh boy, it's hard I can't remember. Ever since I took on this engine program, it's been something. So kind of the resources help fund people and parts. So I don't have all that, but Richard Childress learned about this. I told him about this, and he's got this at his place. And I put wrenches in the concrete. I had a Snap-on deal forever, and so when you walk up, you get the whole wrench thing. But anyway, here's I guess I'm giving you a shop tour. There's my couple of trophies and stuff. But I'm trying to think why the Japan the Japan thing. Oh, I know. I think there is a trophy that I got. Yes. This is one of the trophies that I got from Japan. Am I showing it good or not?
Yeah, I can kind of see the base of it. Yeah.
Can you see the words?
Go to your right a little bit. There we go. Yeah, now we're seeing it. It's in Japanese. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So just to prove the story, but anyway, they actually gave us a really, really cool headdress, a trophy that was in a black lacquer box, and it was a Shogun helmet.
Oh wow!
And I lost in the earthquake. There was an earthquake in Southern California years ago in the 90s. We went in 89, I think, and I think we went in 89 or 91.
You went both years. I was looking at it. You went to two separate events. One, the first one was in 89. The other one is, I think it was in 91.
Right. So, I think there was an earthquake after that, and the box fell and got destroyed. And I don't know what I did. I did stupid stuff back then. It wasn't important to me or something, but I lost it. So anyway, the coolest trophy. But I think life's supposed to be filled with memories, and I guess that's where I'm supposed to be hanging out at. So is the memory. So I'm trying to find some place to hang out that's not looking like a bomb went off.
I absolutely love the fact that this is like the chaos that's going on with the show is perfect, because if it's like people don't understand, it's like when you're at the track, this is like the perfect like this is the way it is with you when you see at the track. It's good chaos, because I remember as a kid when we were at the Spring Nationals at National Trail Raceway, we were walking through the pits, and it jumps out of my mind because you scared my poor little sister to death. Is we're like, my brother said, "Oh, we want to find someone to get an autograph," and you were like walking right beside, just out of line of sight. You go, "Well, why don't you want my autograph?" And it was just hilarious moment that no one expected all of a sudden. I have the hero card somewhere here, but it was just like this total like chaotic moment. And I was like, from that moment forward, I was like, all right, I like this guy. He's cool.
Well, it was, I actually kind of remember that. It's like, hey man, it's just life, as much as I think Matt, I always go back to Matt Smith for my perspective, but he's the issue, so, as much as I think he's a jackwagon, he's just living his life the way he thinks he should live it. I mean, you can't really, as a fan of the sport, in society, they say everybody loves drama. They just want to make sure it's not about them. Right. So, Matt and I aren't going to lunch together, probably, at least not anytime soon. And, he's such a jackwagon on stuff. And, just this last weekend has nothing to do with him winning the race. But the crap that he pulled behind the scenes, everybody thinks, oh, it's just a different. No, he's a jackwagon. He's a damn. So anyway, I'll get it, whatever. But I think the perspective that I had is, it's kind of neat when somebody wants your autograph the first time, but some people just go to the races to get a good parking spot and have people ask them for their autograph. I definitely loved the Winston Suite. I didn't know much about the racing, but I knew in the Winston Suite there were girls and a lot of shrimp cocktail, and they liked me. So I got to golf with them. I got some help with them, and there was good times with those people. But when people would ask about an autograph, at first it was like, wow, this is pretty darn cool, and then I made my autograph a little bit more legible, and then it got to be who got more autographs and where did you get the sign and all this stuff. So I don't know. I actually kind of do remember that situation, though. I really, really do.
It was entertaining. It definitely was. I think it's your autograph's actually on a signed banner it's on the banner that I have out in my race shop. It's on a big NHRA Silk banner. It's up in that corner. Like I said, it was just so funny the way the entire situation unfolded. But I want to get back to this Japan thing, because going to other countries is fascinating, especially when you do it in racing. Do you remember what it was like going over there, being the American racing in front of like that whole crowd and that whole scene?
Yeah, I do. But before it escapes my pea-sized brain, when you re-edit this, so for you fans that are watching this, pretend like you're not hearing this, you need to put a banner across the bottom. This banner of Steve Johnson's autograph is for sale for $1 million.
Re-editing, we don't re-edit around here. It's a one-take, Tommy. We just let it roll, and it's natural. Unless there's a technology failure, I just let it roll and have fun, because it's about the guests and these stories and having these moments, because you can't take life too seriously. You got to have fun. Especially, that's like I told you in the beginning. What's the third rule of the podcast? We have to have fun.
Yeah, well, that's a banner worth 1 million. Okay, so there's no. We'll just say there's no editing. So then here's the editing. Is that backwards or not?
No, that's perfectly forward.
Oh, is it perfectly forward?
Yes.
You're just saying that. That's backwards, right?
No, so I can read it plain as day. Something about banner, $1 million.
Could you actually read what it said? Okay, so that banner is worth $1 million. So, hey, I need 30% of that thing. If you do get it sold, help me out with like just even 28% would be good.
Done and done. Done and done.
All right, so yeah, I love that you asked about that, because that is a really, really special time. And I'm corny as hell. I'm just telling y'all out there, I'm not going to cry, but I mean, I have some emotions about our sport, and I feel like my time here kind of shows it. And I'm telling you, I'm proud that they asked me to go there. That was the first time that we were representing drag racing to the Japanese. And with Suzuki, I was on a Kawasaki back then, but it was I was proud. Jim Dunn went, Mark Powick and the late Joe Lapone went, and I think I said Jim Dunn, but it's I mean, I was proud to go there. I mean, I felt like I had the world by the tail. And we told them that we could not ship our bikes over there. The people that got chosen were, one, they had to be reputable. Two, they had to have a vehicle that could be put in a container to go on a boat to Japan 2 months ahead of time. So Dave Schultz and I, who went, we couldn't do that. No, and then I guess no motorcycles could do that or wanted to do that. So they had to take Dave Schultz and I, which a huge mentor, I just didn't know it, and just so professional. They had to take our bikes on Sunday after the finals and put them in a crate, and they shipped them over there on the airplane. So it was a bigger expense, but it was cool to do. We got over there, and I wasn't much of a sushi guy, but they had what I know now is probably the biggest sushi plate smorgasbord you've ever seen in your life, all with the real stuff, right? And that was our welcoming party. We had lots of dinners. The guy was very, very successful. It looked like there was no problem with money. Lots of NHRA brass that I got along with, and I think that's kind of springboarded a little bit of my relationship with them. I surely can't tell them to push the red button when I'm racing Matt Smith, but I certainly have phone numbers, and I can discuss things on a level head with them. And I think that all stems from the relationship I had with Harvey and the chairman of the board, the founders. I mean, Wally Parks. I mean, everybody. So it's like I cherished that moment and was proud of it. But I still did some corny stuff there.
Like, I'm fascinated by drag racing across the world because it's it's different in every area you go of the world. And it's like, to me, from watching, Anthony Bourdain and stuff on the Travel Channel, Japan is a country of extremes. And like when they get into something or they fixate on it, they take it to a whole new level.
Oh yeah.
So I can only imagine like that entire scene and situation with a bunch of American drag racers that had to just like, that had the steam coming out of their ears. They probably didn't know how to deal with that.
Oh, I'm telling you, do you know who, I wanted to say his name. I wanted to say his name without having you to try to guess. Ness. Do you know the car builder, Elliot Ness? What's his name? His first name, Elliot?
Don Ness.
I went that also gave me some depth with the whole NHRA thing. Is I went to Japan with him. He was one of the guys, and he was pretty eccentric. I didn't know he was I didn't know he was a wealthy, fancy guy. He's just kind of kooky to me. Back then I'm 20, and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, hey, we ran around and, we were interested in girls. And so it's not like we did anything bad. We like girl watch, and we talked to him and blah, blah, blah. But it was like, he was cool. I hung out with him a lot. And I'm telling you, we could do a whole show on just the Japanese thing. But I'm telling you, I got to do really unique stuff. I'm single, so I got to go to, the bathhouses. They bathe y'all up and it's a clean deal, but it's like, a lot of the married guys didn't go there because it was, they all thought it was going to be some kind of shenanigans or something like that. But, I got the car to drive. We went and did our own little tour and stuff like that. We got to play pool. We went to a pool hall and played pool. Got to go buy our own food. Some of the food we weren't real wild about and stuff. We went down to, they call the Ueno district, which was all motorcycles, and everything there is high. Okay. Cause land is such a premium. So they just build it high. So the motorcycle shop there, the first floor was leathers. The second floor was exhaust. The third floor was brakes and air filters. The fourth floor was, fairings and plastic and it was all up. It was weird. Normally you walk in like a Target's all spread out on one floor. So then the whole electronics district was fascinating to go to. And they actually gave us money to spend there. They gave us yen to spend there. I think it was a couple of $1,000. They never did that. And all the other trips after that, they never did that with anybody else. But they took care of the first load like gold. We had special dinners. We convinced somebody, I won't tell you who, but we convinced somebody that when you put the kimono on, you're not supposed to wear anything underneath it. And we all did, obviously, but he didn't.
Oh,
and he got drunk on sake, and he's there with his legs crossed because that's what you do. You got you take your flip-flops off at the front. And he's flipping around, and he kind of self-exposed himself one time, and we roasted his ass forever about that, So just there was so many stories about that, and that's none of it was drag. I mean, the drag racing is a whole other stories. I mean, how I got I had frisbees made by Slick 50 with throwing them up in the grandstands. When I was throwing them there, they thought they were rocks. They literally moved out of the way when I threw them up in the grandstands. And I saw that without about 4 or 5 of them. And I told the announcer or the interpreter to tell the announcer that these are what Americans play with on the beaches of Malibu. And man, when I explained to my audience what they were fighting for them. And I had 500 frisbees. So I gave them to everybody to throw up. We threw them all in the grandstands. But yeah,
you're talking about this, and like I'm thinking, man, Steve's got all these memories. But what about the people over there, like the stories that they're probably telling about everything that happened? It's like the stuff of legend, like on both sides. It'd be great to see both sides of the legend kind of come together and talk about it. It'd be hilarious.
Oh my God. Dave Schultz figured out the clocks, obviously faster than anybody. and he figured out that there was a pre-stage and a stage, but he figured out that you didn't have to pre-stage to start to engage the system. You could roll the pre-stage, which means you could roll the stage, and Dave was going 4 miles an hour before he even broke the beam. So he went like 3,000 miles an hour, and he set a new record. And when they found out that he was cheating, they were like, "Hey, he's got to commit Harry Carey down there," you know. It's like, but he figured that out so fast.
Before we kick into our next segment, I got to thank our first sponsor this episode, Mosier Engineering. Mosier Engineering has been racing across 5 decades through 3 generations of family. They have also been supporting the sportsman ranks since the beginning with our lightning too fast 2-day turnaround. Everything Mosier makes, from rear ends, axles, suspension, brakes, is all made in the USA with one goal in mind, so you can win. To learn more about Mosier, check out mosierengineering.com. Got to hit those sponsors up, of course.
Hey, let me tell you, Larry Dixon is building a Nova, and he's got Chevrolet support, and it's in the magazines and stuff. He put it's an LS engine,
yeah.
And now I think he's going to put an even newer LS engine. And my buddy Bill Meropoulos builds LS engines in Simi Valley, California for a bunch of people. But Mosier's now going to help Larry with the rear end, clearly in his Nova. So he's going to have a Mosier 12 bolt, you know, I guess badass, probably a posi, right? It'd be a posi.
Posi system, yeah.
Yeah.
We fully support Mosier products on the show because we use them in both of my project cars. My street car has it, and I can give you a full testament to how strong a Mosier 9-inch rear end is, because we beat on that thing like it owes us money, and we haven't broken the rear end yet. We've broken stuff around it, but we haven't broken the rear end yet. So if a bunch of dumb apes like me and my friends can run something like that and not break it, that should tell you how quality of a product it really is.
Yeah. Well, it's I got to tell you, Goko Fuku Awarimasu. That was the Japanese that I learned when I was over there. It had something to do with "you're very kind and I'll pray for you."
That's usually my biggest problem with me traveling to foreign countries outside the United States, because I do consider some parts of the United States a foreign country because they're way different. But like the language barrier, I would get myself in a lot of trouble in other countries because I would say something probably completely out of whack and either get slapped or shot.
Yeah, that's we when John Myers and I used to go to all the different states, we would practice the dialect in the race before that. So in Denver, we'd always practice our Minnesota. We go when you'd walk into the restaurants in Brainerd, Minnesota, they'd say, "Smoking or none?"
Don't you know?
Don't you know? I want a pop. You got pop? Yeah, and then we'd get there, and then they dog us out and stuff like that. But yeah, that's every state over here to a certain extent has its. Moving here to Alabama, it's like cut on the lights. I was like, cut on the lights. That's clearly means to turn on the light. But why would you say cut on the lights? Is that like something you do with a knife? So, you know, mom back and mama damn and all these sayings like this are pretty unique.
Now, speaking of regional things, you know, in drag racing, there's different things that are more popular than others in different parts of the country. And this is going to, I think, tie to Pro Stock Motorcycle a little bit. Do you think you get more fans, or maybe fans would be more interested in the motorcycle category in general if it was something like the swing arm pro street bikes you see, like the XDRA, the boosted bikes and stuff like that?
I think the first thing that intrigues anybody is the visual look of something. I think the wheelie bar. Okay, so I think the visual look is first. The second thing would be the second or third thing might be to be educated about that vehicle, and either the second or third thing would be the personalities, and that might be the first thing sitting here thinking about it. You know, you wouldn't care if you were just a general public person, you wouldn't care about Steve Johnson racing Matt Smith somewhere, but if The Rock got on one and and the other guy in Fast and Furious got on one, and they said that they were playing volleyball or drag racing or going to build a bridge, people would watch. So I think the personality is very, very important. Having said that, the education is hey, if these are going to accelerate this fast and they don't have a wheelie bar, isn't it going to flip over backwards? That's what people want to see, right? The crash and bang, fire, all that stuff. That's what made John Force famous, right? All the fires and stuff. I saw him today in the line at the airport, and I was just telling him just ironically about how, hey man, you ain't been on fire. That's good, huh? So, but I think so. To try to answer your question, I think drag racing wants to see. They know the personalities. I think they want to see racing. They want to see close racing, and a nitro fuel bike is probably one of the most exciting things on the planet that I know of seeing. Larry Spider-Man McBride and Dave Vantine and Mitch Brown, all these guys that race fuel bikes. Those things are just absolutely incredible, but there's just not enough of them to create, a 16 bike class or even an 8 bike class. So I think Pro Stock Motorcycle is so appealing because we all look pretty professional, and there's at least 16 of us at every national event. And for the most point of the story, I think we put on a good show as far as racing and competition close at the end.
It's funny. I talked to Ty Tharp about this. I was like, you could line up 8 motorcycle racers, 4 Pro Stock Motorcycle, 4 Nitro Harley, and anybody could look at the 8 racers and figure out who is who just based on looks alone. Because Nitro Harley guys fit the Harley mode, and they're usually some pretty big individuals. And the Pro Stock Motorcycle racers tend to be the more, I always joke, the jockey looking type, athletic types. It was like, it's entertaining to watch it. I think it just kind of fits that entire, like the personality of each bike perfectly. One's a precision instrument. One is a very big sledgehammer.
I want to show you what one of the fans gave us for Jock. When Jock was getting out of the hospital, a fan made that for us. It was pretty cool. His name is Richard. So I just thought it was kind of cool. I was going to go down here because you brought up the thing about the diet, and as you know, or as you may have heard, I eat a pound of broccoli a day because it helps your pH, and people don't think about pH, and you have to have a body that has a good pH. Wow, I'm out of broccoli there. Well, I've been gone for a while, but that's all broccoli. That'll be good for 4 or 5 days. But it's so important to have. There's our buddy John. I'm giving you a shop tour, I guess. So there's a buddy.
This is a new level for the show because we're doing an interview. We're getting a shop tour. I mean, this is a first.
Oh, cool. So there's our sink.
Oh, nice. Good use of a racing fuel drum.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. I thought it was kind of cool. Got a shower. If we get I always dreamt that I was gonna have a sponsor. I always told everybody, hey man, we're gonna have visitors here. You got to keep the shop clean. When I had 7 employees at one time, and they said, okay, what day? And I'm like, well, that's the problem. We're only gonna have about 10 visits a year, but we just don't know when. The girls even get a bathroom. So it's like, they got kind of, my gal at the time decorated the place. I don't have that kind of game, but so.
As we walk around the shop, I had a couple of other different questions you were kind of, I was going to ask, but something you mentioned there with your diet and whatnot, get your take on this. How important is it, as a professional racer to kind of, you feed your machine good fuel. How does it help you as a racer feeding your body the good fuel?
Well, that's a great segment because I love to help educate people on that. And I learned, and I got verification from it when Jock went through his COVID 24 days on a ventilator. And less than 10% survive after 21 days on a ventilator through this COVID mess. So him being young and strong helped him tremendously there, and is and really your body is so important. Just real briefly, they measure how your lung, you bring in air, and your alveoli is inside your lungs, and it's like these little tentacles. And when your oxygen comes in, it goes to this alveoli. I'm pronouncing it bad, but it gets sucked in, and then it goes in through your arteries, veins, and one of the two, and it gets to your heart, and that's what the oxygen fortifies your blood. It kind of cleans your blood, and they measure the blood, and that's arterial blood gases, and that measurement has a number of different pieces to it, like a dyno sheet, horsepower, torque, fuel consumption, things like that. So one of those deals is the pH. Well, our bodies all have to be basically around 7.4, 7.6, something like that. If we don't ever eat any green, our bodies are leaching from our bone and our bone marrow to keep our bodies at that pH balance, which creates bone density loss, and you're stealing from your body to do everything. It sounds like a public service announcement, right? But if you just would eat some more green, your body would be so much better, and you really would feel it. So to answer your question is yes, because where it really comes from is your mind. When you start feeding your body what you know is good, what is proven to be good, and now there's a million diets out there, and all that bull crap about this diet's better than that diet. I'll tell you one thing that I know for absolute certain. There's no what would you say is the best diet on the planet?
I would say, from my own personal standpoint, just a general well-balanced diet. Nothing that is too, crazy fad diet, but just something where you're eating, healthy and smart. You're eating your greens and everything else. Just you're following that pyramid and eating the right foods. That would be my guess.
You're pretty close. This is what I feel more confident about than anything. Mother Nature. Mother Nature's diet is the best diet. When you eat like an animal, in an herbivore in nature, all this myth about, you're going to get hate mail now, or I'm going to get it. All this thing where you got to drink a gallon of water a day, or 88 ounces of every ounce of body fat, or blah, 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 blah. What animal in nature do you ever see starts their morning off with licking up and drinking a gallon of water? When you think about how a deer drinks, a lion, anything that's, basically like us, they don't do that. And they eat green. Most of the stuff is green. There's no grain. They ain't eating grain. They're not eating fruit. Steve Jobs thought fruit was going to be great for him, to cure cancer or something. At least that's what I heard. That was my opinion. Fruit definitely wasn't the answer. And broccoli's not the answer. But the reason why I choose broccoli is, one, because it's green. That's the most important. But the second thing is it has the most amount of protein in it of just about all the vegetables. So all these things, you're supposed to have a little bit of lean meat. You don't, and the overeat. I'll just get on. We won't go there. But the point is if I eat a bunch of sugar and I still love M&Ms and I still love pancakes, and I went out with Jeff Perella for a runner-up maid of honor dinner last night, and I had double broccoli and salmon, but I had one of his pancakes. So it's like I love some sweet stuff, but when your body goes into I can't think of the name, but you really beat up your body, and then you just can't perform. And if you eat bad, your mind knows you've eaten bad, so you can't perform as good as you can. And if you do all the right stuff, you have an advantage over everybody else, because your mind and your soul knows that you're ready to go kick butt.
Now, before we kick this into the final high gear here, I got to do another sponsor shout out here to a comp cams, and they're for serious LS engine builds that demand strength, durability under extreme conditions. Look into Comp Cam's Race XD bushed solid roller lifters with a lightweight modular design and a proprietary bronze to alloy roller wheel bushing. Race XD bushed solid roller lifters eliminate the most common cause of failures with a new oiling system that guarantees consistent roller wheel axle lubrication. To learn more, visit compcams.com, the absolute leader in valve train technology. Another product that we're putting into one of my race engines, so it's good right there. Now, we talked about this in the pre-interview. You do stuff with a lot of students, and that's a big passion of yours. What kind of led you down that path to develop this program to work with the younger people?
Oh, I had to think about that because you interview guys, you associate what? Editor?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
You associate editor types, you still have some stuff in your back pocket, and that's always fun to throw at somebody. But we didn't talk about what led to that. And what's cool about that, just as a sidebar, when I was with Slick 50, they sent me to media school long before people were going to media school. And they taught 2 days of training, thousands of dollars they invested into my media training. And NHRA's done it. I've been to Suzuki's and I've been to other people's, but it's like Larry Dixon went to I forget the guy's name, but it's they teach you about just doing your research and learning about this. This is long before even internet. Just interacting with the guy that's doing the interview, offer him something to drink or sit down. I always try to take care of anybody that was PR related at the races because I was taught that. So that teaching is the same thing I'm at. I was lucky to learn from a mentor, Sam Laronis, and he taught me about work ethic. If you want something, go fight for it. And Jock, my guy, he's from a rough part of town, Jasper, Alabama. The kid's got work ethic. He really, really does. And that's what makes me like him so much is and when we're at Home Depot or something like that, the girl's short, she doesn't care. He says, man, if you don't want to be here, why'd you come today? And he's dogging people out, not just to me, we don't say it in their face, but it's like he doesn't understand that because he's got work ethic. So my point is I think to answer your question too is I want to show people that there's so much in life to get. And as guys and girls, we all want what we want. It doesn't matter what you want. It's just, you got to figure out how to go get it. And if you want to get it, you got to do something for it. You got to work. You got to do something for it in theory. Not everybody's, going to get an inheritance or something like that. So that stuff gravitated towards what I was doing. And I liked motorcycles. And this guy, I was renting a room from my buddy. We were working on motorcycles and cars. Well, his dad saw that. He was a lead technician at a Jaguar dealership. So I got a job there as an apprentice for years. And I was a technician. So when I started my little motorcycle shop and then got a sponsor and then was full-time racing, I gravitated towards the kids that came out of these tech schools. And then the tech schools reached out to me and said, hey, man, you keep hiring these guys or keep talking to us about that. Would you come talk? So I talked, and I was in Phoenix one year and, did this was before even raceback computers, I think. And I put the heat gun on the exhaust pipe, and I could see the number for each exhaust pipe. And I talked to the students about richening or leaning it out would adjust each one of the exhaust pipes to have the same temperature. So that stuff all led into a full-fledged deal with engaging young people at a skilled trade, and specifically becoming an automotive technician or a motorcycle or even diesel. Diesel pays a lot of money right now. So I'm involved in every level with ASE. We do presentations with the instructors. I've been to high schools and talked to obviously all the students about career opportunities. Don't be a lazy butt, figure out what you want and go chase it. And even talk to the career advisors and try to get them engaged in how rewarding and how you can make a living in the automotive. And everybody doesn't have to go to college to be successful. That's kind of the deal.
And kind of like we talked about in the preview, now we'll go into that, as you wanted to talk about the program a little bit more, which I want, I think it'd be great for people to hear about it. Kind of what's that morphed into now, and how do you push that along?
I think it's, in today's world, these telephones are pretty powerful, and, students want to, you can be an affiliate, you can create YouTube channels, all these things that you can do on a phone. It really changes things up a lot. At 16, man, the first thing we wanted to do is we wanted to be at the DMV to get our driver's license. I loved cars, 69 Cougar, putting Hedman headers on it. First set of headers at 16. That was exciting stuff. So I just think it's our job, like I kind of saying before about educating people. I think we got to educate them, and we got to help the industry understand that they have to evolve. We want the industry to pay more. There's car dealership people are very successful financially, and we're trying to indicate to them as they need more and more employees. You can go to work at McDonald's for $10 an hour or $12 an hour to be some kind of shift leader, a big sign out there. So even a beginning technician needs to get more than that. So we just try to encourage young people, and we got some crazy letters. I do presentations about marketing your brand after the diploma. That's what I call my latest one. And, when you were in school, if you're listening to this and you're watching and you're not completely falling asleep, ask yourself this question, guy or girl. You're sitting in 6th period high school. Door opens up, somebody walks in you ain't never seen before. If you're a guy and she's a girl, you are checking her out. Okay, nothing bad, but just your check. And if you're a girl, is he on the football team? Has he got a car? Has he got money? Does he like girls? Da, 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 da. And guys, is she hot? Is she a blonde? Point is they walk in, you don't know nothing about them, and you're already branding them, right? So I encourage young people to create a brand. Their Facebook page, their Instagram, that's a brand. It's a proven fact. You go in for an interview, they're going to look at your Instagram and see what kind of pictures you post and who and how you are. They're going to understand your brand. Jock showed up 30 minutes before the interview. Jennifer says, hey, the guy's here for the interview. I'm like, it's 30 minutes early. What does that say? He wants the job, right? So he's created a brand. It's all that stuff is just so crazy important. And then when you sit down and you've created a brand about you wanting to be there, make sure you got game. Make sure you got some kind of credential, not just, oh, I want to do it, but I've got a credential that says I'm investing in my career. Go to UTI, go to, the Lincoln Tech, go to Wyotech, go to these schools, community college, something past high school education that says I'm engaged in this. Have some tools, let them know all this stuff. I work on cars on the weekend, and I noticed that you guys race. I love racing, blah, blah, blah. So all these things are about engaging young people and finding the job that they want and going and getting it. And that presentation about marketing your brand after the diploma, that could fit with anything. I did those things with dental hygienists in a tech school, in a school for dental hygienists, and they were all girls. And I talked to them about their brand. So you see all the time, football player or basketball player, oh man, I could take $4 million. That'll hurt my brand. I gotta have double that. So
now I always like to end the show with a fun question. And, a lot of people, again, they still don't believe me that I have many mystical powers on the show. I've got a time machine, unlimited bank account, all kinds of cool stuff that I can do. So for you, I'm going to give you the opportunity to become your own version of a Connie Coletta, Don Schumacher, John Force, and build your own super pro stock motorcycle team with any group of racers, 2 racers from any era of 2-wheel racing, and you get to put a crew chief on there, the development guy, whatever you need. So you now have the power to pull these people from time, Bill and Ted style, and you have Jeff Bezos's bank account. What team are you going to build, Steve?
Wow, that's crazy. Well, I'd have to have a super team. You know, I've always been a fan of Bernstein. I was trying to find a thought about, you know, his super teams were just it was so powerful. And I really loved it. You know, Daryl Gwynn was on it for a while. And so I'd build the super team, and which I'm kind of hosing you on because it kind of lets me be everywhere, you know. But are you saying that I got to grab some of those guys, or are you just saying what kind of team in just general?
What kind of team would you want to build? We'll take it that way. Yeah. Do you just want to build your own pro stock motorcycle team? Do you want to build something that's got motorcycles, Top Fuel, Funny Car, Pro Mod? You've got 3 spots to fill for drivers and racers. You know, what kind of team are you going to build?
Well, I would, and it has to be in one. It has to be in drag racing.
Hey, if you want to bring non-drag racing people into drag race, you know, whatever. What, like I said, this is your team that you're rolling up to the race with.
Oh, wow.
Your haulers and everything. You know, you've got the full double stacker luxury hospitality suite. You've got it all.
Well, I know we're not about politics, but I'll just say, man, I'd have to put Barack Obama in one car and Donald Trump in another car, because I'm going to get the most amount of people, right? I hate politics, but I'm like, oh, you know what would be a better, what's her name? Kardashian. She's got more followers. You know, I'd go here. Let me re-answer that. I'd go research who has the most amount of followers, and I'd convince them that there'd be a reason why they would get more followers with my corny team. But I think it would also engage other people to expand drag racing. I think if I had Kim Kardashian in a car and Selena Gomez in another car, I think we'd have a lot of women, and it would help the girls, the percentage of girls racing in our class. And it's in motorcycles, it's a finesse thing. It's not about macho or anything like that. Girls kick ass in our sport because it's finesse. And I think that's why they kick ass in the rest of the classes too. So I would do that. And I definitely have a fuel car. I'd get hammered if I didn't put Larry Dixon in a car. I might have a 3-seater. I might have a 3-seater. Since NHRA likes the 2-seater so much, I might have a 3-seater. And I'm gonna have a dual-seater motorcycle too. So it just, as long as I'm getting in trouble, I want to get completely in trouble. So, but I really, really do have a cool idea for pro stock motorcycles. But I love pro stock car. You know, those are the 3 classes. I'm really kind of I'm really kind of a bad interview for that, because I want a fuel car, I want a pro stock car, and I want a pro stock motorcycle. I think I really like a fuel bike too, but that would be the secondary thing, and a badass shop, man. Oh my God, I have a John Force kind of shop, you know, or you know, a Don Schumacher kind of shop, and I'd have, oh my gosh, you know, Rob Wendland told me the story about his putting a wing on the back of a flatbed trailer to understand the downforce. And this is before all these fancy gauges and computers and all that stuff. Well, he took valve springs and put them on a Rimac tester to see if they were, you know, at 2 inches, they were, you know, 100 pounds, or at 0 pounds. And at 1 inch, they were 200 pounds. Well, he put 4 springs underneath the 4 posts of the wing. And on the flatbed trailer, he'd have the station wagon in front of him, pull him 100 miles an hour, and measure how much force the air put down on the wing to push down and compress the springs. I'm hiring that guy, man.
You need that mad scientist that's going to come to you.
Oh my gosh, yeah, he's crazy. So there's a lot of other guys out there at the races that are just crazy smart. But and I'd have a John Pugh paint job. You know, I wouldn't scrimp on any of that stuff. And I'd have really cool sponsors. I'd have Mac Rack. my guy at MacRack, Sean and Pam, they love drag racing. They're sponsoring me, and they ran into me at the racetrack. They said, "Hey, what's it going to take?" I was doing a school appearance where I brought students to Chris McGahe's trailer in Phoenix, and I was taking pictures of Chris teaching them about transmissions and about his car. And I took a picture, and the guy says, "Hey, man, what's it going to take for you to not have a white bike all the time?" And I'm like, so that started the conversation. There are people like that out there. So if you're thinking you don't have a sponsor and you don't want to go to the drag races, you need to go, because there's people out there. So I'd have great sponsors like Sean, and Pam. They just love drag racing, and they have a business that doesn't even really get anything from drag racing. It's their pallet rack repair and protection. So, your forklift running into your pallets, your racking systems, and you got to take the whole thing apart to fix it. They can fix it in position and blah blah blah. But yeah, that's that kind of stuff is, and I'd have to drag along my original guys. Slick 50. Here's the recharge. You'd have to have some Slick 50 recharge. You get it at O'Reilly. You got to work in my sponsor plug, but they supported us this weekend, which is really really cool. That super team. I mean, if there's a 1471 or a 1671, I'd be calling those SFI guys or whoever they are. I'd be having a 20. I'd make it. Oh, there's rules. They got rules on that, right?
The SFI guys would probably, I could see that phone call. They'd be like, "You want to do what?" hold on, let me put you on speakerphone. Say that again. That'd be like conversation.
I would want as much fun as I was trying to have. I really think that 2-seater thing is a fantastic opportunity to engage corporate America. Definitely have all kind. I mean, the food that we would have it would be a show. I got lucky, in our shop. You probably saw when I walked by the windows. The windows here. I learned that from Dale Earnhardt Sr. That's so you can see in the shop. And Dale Earnhardt's shop was exactly like that. So my shop, I kind of copied from him. Everything about it is, I'm gonna flip the darn. No wonder you couldn't see it. Everything about it is so you can see what's going on in the shop with the window. You can see like part of the diner room and stuff in there. And that was all about, so you could do a tour and you could show people. So it would all be about a show. Penske's shop, you walk around up top and you look down, right? So it's like, these are more windows for the shop. But I would try to do. John Force has got one heck of a shop, but I would try to up everybody. I'd be competitive.
Well, Steve, our time here is coming to the end on the show, and I like to give my guests their opportunity to, you mentioned John Force, to channel that inner John Force and go like back in the day when he used to name off all of his sponsors and all that whenever he possibly could. So this is the portion of the show where I flip it over to you and you can thank who you need to thank. You can tell people where they can learn about what you got going on, Facebook, webpage, Instagram, whatever you got. So the floor is yours, my friend. Tell the people what you got going on, your sponsors, the whole deal. Thank who you got to thank.
Well, over and above all thanking everybody, I want everybody to know that there's a couple of choices in Pro Stock Motorcycle right now. You don't have to go buy an engine the traditional way. Buells, Matt, everybody's got bikes to rent. I want to energize our class any way I can. Matt's got bikes to rent, and Vance and Hines, I think, is even building bikes, both V-twin and Suzuki's. Ryan Naylor's got stuff. Our class is really unique right now because it's got good rivalries and it's got good power, and you never know who's going to win. And at the same time, you can turn it into a career. If you get somebody interested in motorsports, you can start in a Pro Stock Motorcycle for a couple $100,000 and go racing at a top level and be involved in the Fox network, and even not only corporate network, but their FS1 shows. And when you start compiling what that value has back to a sponsor, there is money there that maybe you could turn drag racing into a career, like some of the people have done. So the National Hot Rod Association has got incredible facilities right now. They're upgrading everything that hasn't been upgraded. So I think drag racing is a hot area, and I want to promote the fact, even though you have drag racers listening, I want to promote the fact that the sanction body right now is coming back just like all of us out of COVID, and they're strong. I have a sponsor that used to race motorcycles, Tony Toll Plumbing, and he just loves supporting us because we're still racing a Pro Stock Motorcycle. Bob Button, he raced. He's got a trucking company in Northern California. We're gonna go get a chance to see him when we go to Sonoma. And Sonoma, the record could break for our class. You know, I want to tell people about that. Sonoma is a really, really cool race to ride a motorcycle to, and to be engaged in the bikes. Force will be there, obviously. Everybody, Schumacher, all the Colettas, everybody will be there that's fast. And I bet your records will fall. So that's going to be a really, really exciting race. So I think last but not least, when you got your friends, you got to make sure that you look them in the eye every once in a while, or if you can't do that, send them a text, tell them without being too damn corny how important they are, how much you value their relationship. It's I got a buddy that does a machine shop here, and he supports us. My buddy Chris Dalton, you know, he makes some parts. He made this little spacer for me for my valve guide. It's 10 thousandths thick and 600 thousandths tall. It's like, wow, you know, really? And he stopped everything to make all that. He's got 25 machines in there. So I guess my point is, and as corny as it is have a lot of gratitude in your heart. You know, we didn't win the race in Cleveland. I hate like hell Matt beat us. He sucks.
No punch is full.
He just didn't suck yesterday. Damn it. Just damn fries my ass. But still, you got to have a lot of gratitude. And I think when you have a lot of gratitude in your heart, I think a lot of good things happen to you. So be a fantastic human being, like I always say, and eat some green stuff, y'all. Take care of your damn body. Gosh darn it. The mental power that you'll have from knowing that you're eating good stuff is so awesome. And support our sanction body, man. And Steve Johnson, I'm on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. So come check us out.
Steve, I appreciate you coming on the show. And, you know, I've got to thank our sponsors, of course, Performance Distributors, Airflow Research, Pro Charger, Holly, MSD, Flowmaster, Comp Cams, Fuel Air Spark Technology, and Eldebrock. Steve, it was a unique show. It was a lot of fun to have you on. My editor and I talked about when we were going to come on. I'm like, this one's going to be a wild one. We're just going to see where it goes. And I can say that you have not disappointed. It's been a great show. A lot of fun. I appreciate it so much.
I can't wait to get a second opportunity at it. I got to thank Suzuki, too, for having a great motorcycle and competing. Hopefully we'll get the record. And for whatever it's worth, I'm going to have a shirt. It's going to say the quickest Suzuki on the planet, or the quickest Suzuki ever. I wish I had one of those things right here. I could kick it off right here, but I'm going to probably have it in a week right before Denver. So thank you so much for having a motorcycle guy on there. Get my buddy Matt on here one time. And oh, maybe I could photobomb him or I could video bomb him.
Maybe I'll put you both on, because I can bring multiple people on the show. I can bring you both on and you can talk things out, or who knows what'll happen. We'll just, you know, we'll give you the link and just let you randomly join. I'm sure it'll be great. It'll be fun.
All I got to do is say, Matt, you suck and you're a jackwagon.
Then you just leave.
And drop the mic. That's what Amanda said to me. You took away the #1 spot from Matt. And I should have said it was never his to begin with and dropped the mic and walked away. That would have been an awesome interview, wouldn't it?
Keep that in mind for the next time.
And thank you, Irvin Allen. We all know him as Jock. He's my lead crew guy. Thank you for sticking with me all this time. We're going to go kick their butt. So, and watch, keep an eye on these guys.
Thanks again, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, brother.